Hello YouTube. I've been living in my house for a year now, and I just want to give some thoughts on my first year of home ownership in my little house. Doing most of this off the top of my head, so I will see how this video comes out. Um, First thing I would like to say about home ownership is there's always going to be repairs. So far in the first year I've lived here, since I moved in, the blower on my heater went, and I had to spend about $600 to have the blower replaced. So I also anticipate in the future more things having to be fixed. Just living in a house over time, things will break. So I suggest anyone who is thinking about buying a home or has a home, try to put some money away every week if you can to put towards repairs in the future. For me, I put right now about $100 a week away. No, I put more than that away. Um, I put about 150 a week away for repairs, and a small repair like having the blower fixed, which was a little under $600, I could just pay for cash. I didn't have to worry about putting on a credit card. So that's one thing about living in a house. If you rent somewhere, the landlord will come out and fix it. The only downside is sometimes the landlord takes their time, and you do wind up paying for the repairs in the rent. Those repair costs are rolled into your rent. So some people who rent say, well, I don't have to pay for repairs. Well, you are paying for repairs. You're just paying for them in your rent up front. In the long run, you are paying for those repairs, though. Another thing, in my first years, I learned some things. I taught myself how to put in the ceiling lights. When I moved in, there were some older ceiling lights. I didn't really like them. I had an electrician come in. He was going to charge me something like 400 something dollars to put the lights in, to take my old ceiling lights out, put the new ceiling lights in. So before he came over to put them in, I went on YouTube and watched a couple videos on how to do it, and I thought, well, that looks easy enough to do. I'll try to do it myself. So I put one in and it worked, and I put another one in, and then I had a coworker come over and we put in a ceiling fan, and I gave him $60 to help me put it in. So it's still cheaper than the price that was quoted for me to put to install that. I also learned how to put a shower head in. I learned how to install a bidet. I always wanted a bidet on the toilet. I put that in, and I learned how to change my thermostat. So there are ways you can save money if you buy your own place with small repairs and small replacements that you can do on your own. Another thing I like about home ownership is you don't have to ask permission from anybody to do anything to put in those ceiling lights and the ceiling fan. I didn't have to ask permission, and because I own this house, and to me it looks better, it might up the value of the house a little bit. I'm not upping the value for someone else. If you rent a house with someone else and they say, okay, you can put the light fixtures in, well, you're not allowed to leave and take those with you. Anything that is installed into the house, when you leave, has to stay affixed to the house. So you could be making the rent go up for the next person that moves in, making your landlord more money because you put lights in. And if I was renting, I wouldn't do that. I would just left the old light fixtures in. Another thing I like is I have a small yard. It's not very big. I have to maintain it a little bit, but it's nice to be able to sit out in my own yard. I'm not sitting in someone else's yard. I'm not in an apartment complex sharing a big outside yard with everybody. It's mine. I could have people over, have a small barbecue back there, and it's enclosed. It's my yard. Another thing too, I had a fence put in the backyard. That was an expense. I didn't like that. The fence on the side wasn't there, so me and my neighbor's yard were basically one big yard. So now I have my yard fenced in, and I feel like I have a little bit of privacy. Another thing about home ownership, especially if it's a disconnected house, this house is not a townhouse, it's not a condo, it's not connected to anything, is if I want to watch a movie at 2 in the morning with the sound all the way up, I can do it without bothering anybody. I can listen to the radio anytime, day or night, without bothering anybody. I've been in apartments before. Certain times you want to turn stuff down, usually, around 8, 9 o'clock is when you don't want to be too loud. I mean, you can if you have but if you're an asshole, you can blast your music all night long. But I typically don't like doing that. That's an ignorant thing to do. I wouldn't want someone to do that to me. But I've been in apartments and seen apartments where someone's up all night long, and you have a quote rap artist living underneath you, the 45-year-old rap artist who is blasting the music all night long, and you wish they would turn it off and go to bed because you're 45-year-old rap artist. You haven't made a cent in your rap career your whole life. Maybe it's time tone it down a little bit. You're 45 years old now. That dream can be done in a day now. You don't have to do it all night long. Sorry, I'm just a little rant from I stayed at a friend's apartment one night, and the 45-year-old rap artist beneath him was playing rap all night. You could tell he was trying to make beats and stuff. And my friend and him were always arguing with each other because he sat there down. But now I'm ranting. Another thing I like about home ownership is just psychologically different when you own your own place. It's just something about it. It's now every payment I make goes towards owning this house instead of paying rent. When you pay rent, you feel like you're paying rent forever. When you have a mortgage, I'm paying mine a little bit ahead. I would like to have this house paid off in 10 years instead of 30 years, if possible. And I'm 6 months ahead on my payments. So if something were to happen to me, I don't have to make a payment on this house for 6 months, which I'm pretty sure you can do with the rent. You can get 6 months ahead too. But no matter how far ahead months ahead you get on paying your rent, you always have to pay your rent to live there. At some point, I want this house paid off, and I can just pay taxes. And the taxes on this small house are like $1,100 a year. And considering rent around here is $1,200 a month for a studio, it's less to just pay taxes one time a year than to rent a studio apartment around here. So I like that too. So far my first year, I'm enjoying it. I've had friends come over, had a couple friends from far away come over and stay a couple nights, and it's just really nice. It's like I said, it's just psychologically different. Paint the walls, don't have to ask anybody. Had to figure some stuff out that I didn't think of before without owning a home. Probably gonna have the toilet replaced next because it every once in a while it seems to flush itself, and I've had someone look at it. It's an older toilet, so I don't know. It's a small toilet anyway, and I'm 6'4", so I would like something maybe a little bigger. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is I don't want to come off rambling, but I like home ownership. I completely changed my mind on renting versus owning over the past couple years. About 20 years ago, I was the type of person that if you can rent a studio apartment for $400 a month instead of having a $1,000 a month mortgage, put that $600 away, invest it, and just rent a studio. What's the difference? You have a roof over your head. But now that rents have gone so high, I've completely changed my mind on that. If you can get a down payment and get a mortgage that's cheaper than rent, which I'm seeing now, it's completely reversed itself. Where now, if you can put some money down, you can get a house that's a little cheaper than renting. If you can do that and take the little bit of extra money you would have put towards rent and just put it away towards repairs, I think home ownership is definitely worth it. Especially because I can resell this house someday. Maybe 20 years down the line, I retire. I decide I want to move out. I want to move somewhere. I'd like to move to Montana. That's basically my goal, but I'm far from Montana right now, and I'm not retired yet. And I could maybe sell this house and get money back for it. Whereas if I was just renting this place for 20 years, well, at the end of 20 years, I'm just out all that money. Even if I break even, even if I make $90,000 on this house 20 years from now, and I spent about $86,000 on this house and make $4,000 profit, that's more than I would have if I rented this place for the 20 years, 25 years, or whatever. So anyway, I just wanted to do like a quick, I don't know how long this is. I just wanted to do a video on my 1-year house anniversary. It's been about a year and 2 weeks now, give or take, on some of the things I really enjoy about it. I really think it's worth it. I know it's a lot harder these days to rent to buy. House prices have gone so high. I don't know what younger kids are going to do, to be honest. I can't imagine an 18-year-old now just trying to pay rent to live. How are they going to save for a mortgage? It's going to be almost impossible with the way inflation's going. And unless house values come down, which, I'm fine with that too. Even if I sell this house years from now and I break even because house values don't go up, I think houses have got to stop going up, or eventually people are just not going to be able to afford to buy them. But yeah, definitely prefer home ownership over renting at this point. So anyway, this is a day before Memorial Day. Have a good Memorial Day, and just a quick vlog I felt like just doing.